Asha, now we have a very special guest in our studio, and we are going to discuss right now the current situation, the current global economic situation, and our economic situation right now. We are having to face so many challenges. We are going to discuss with Dr. Rizwan Khan from Vietnam. He's data scientist and economist. Welcome again, Dr. Saab.
Welcome, Dr. Saab.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for inviting
Dr.
me.
Saab, the first question is, where are we heading? We are heading towards World War III. We would say that now this point in time, situation is getting very critical, and I presume we are the one. Pakistan is the country who's having the most difficult time right now in terms of economy, in terms of our liability, and there's so many other problems we are having to face. What do you have to say? How can we control this situation? Do we have any contingency plan? Or the question is, should we have, at this point in time, the contingency plan, which is missing right now? What do you say?
Very interesting question. I believe that Pakistan is in a situation right now that we haven't seen for quite some time.
Yes.
I believe last time something similar happened was in 1978, when USSR invaded Afghanistan, and we came to a point where we did not have any choice but to become part of this whole war. What is going on right now is very interesting, because there were MOUs signed by US and Iran to discontinue the war for a while, but it started again. If you look at the situation from economic point of view, I think that is something very alarming right now. Currently, about 20% of total crude oil and the LNG supply is coming from Hormuz. If Hormuz is blocked or closed down, that will have a major impact, not only on Pakistan, but also countries like South Korea, China, and other countries in that part of the world, because about 80% of crude oil for those countries are going through Hormuz. The alternate for that is the Red Sea, or what we in Urdu call Bab al-Mandab. So that is another point that where we need to look into what is going on by Houthis in Yemen.
Yes.
If that is blocked as well, so you do assume that the inflation will be at least in double digit. I would say that 25 to 30%.
Which is currently in a double digit right now.
Yeah,
we cannot
it's
assume
already
that we are living in a world
double digit.
where we are having a single digit inflation. This is not the reality, I would say.
Agree. In economics, when we talk about the CPI, Consumer Price Index, or inflation in what we call, that is taking into account a basket of products and services that we are using. So not every consumer is using the same products and services. So definitely the inflation for some people may be in very close to 50-60%. For other consumers, it may be 12-15%, but it will go at least 25 to 30%, even in countries such as the ASEAN region and other areas. So that is very alarming. So that is the economic point of view. When we look at from geopolitical point of view, it's even more alarming, because right now there is a tilt in Iran, in the other Gulf countries, where they have to decide where they want to go. And especially for countries like Saudi Arabia, the things may become very messy, because they have very ambitious plans, especially by 2030 and 2050. Oil is running out. They have to move towards the digital economy, and if they do not address this issue, then it will be a major challenge. If you look at UAE, investment is already started going out, and the reason is that investors do not take any risk. The reason why we do not have investment in Pakistan is because of the law and order situation and other things. So it will continue for them as well.
All right. Speaking of economy, Dr. Saab, I would like to ask you, since you're living in Vietnam and you've been living for a really long time, how would they survive in this situation? Are they having the same situation what we are having? Because we are determining our prices on a regular basis. I mean, is this the correct strategy, the right policy that we should adopt, or is this the right way to things get better, control this situation, whole situation? I would like to ask you, because people really want to know what exactly happening in this part of the world, that we are just changing our economic policy on a daily basis. Is this going to work? That's my question.
It's a very interesting question from the viewpoint of the purchasing power of the people in Pakistan. If you look at Vietnam, the petrol prices change quite often, not on daily basis, but quite often. In Pakistan, long ago, I was working with Shell, so I get to know about the freight equalization margin, where all over the country, the petrol prices remain same, and the freight charges that are paid by, for example, consumers in Lahore or Islamabad or Peshawar are borne by all the people. So theoretically, fuel prices in Karachi should be lower because there's no freight charges. In other parts of the world, in other parts of the country, the freight charges are much higher. Now, if you look at Germany, for example, the petrol prices change every day, but they can increase only once, but they can reduce as many times as they want. But they cannot increase more than one time every day. So that is one thing. But Germany is a developed economy. Their people have more purchasing power, or much higher purchasing power. In Vietnam, the situation is, let me give you a little bit background for that. So the currency of Vietnam is called Dong, and it's for $1 US dollar, you can get roughly about 26,500 Dong. So the petrol prices before the war was roughly about 21,000. It went up to 31, and currently it is hovering somewhere around 22, 23,000. Which is roughly about 240, 250 rupees. So from that perspective, definitely Vietnam is quite insulated, number one. There are other sources of fuel as well, not only from the Middle East, but rather from Malaysia, from Vietnam does have its own crude oil exploration in Vũng Tàu region, which is the south of Vietnam. So from that perspective, the fuel prices is not a major concern. However, inflation is controlled. I would say it's hovering around 4 to 6%. It's not very high. And again, as I mentioned last week, that in Pakistan, there's a need for everyone in family need to work. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, one person is earning and everybody is enjoying. So in Urdu, what we call my brother is in Saudi. And that's how
he's the only
unfortunately.
breadwinner,
Exactly. So that's unfortunately is going to change. It has to change.
It has to
Otherwise, we will
Very
not
right.
survive.
Now, sir, I would like to ask, how do you see the situation of America and Iran? Is it going to spread globally, or is it in the Middle East?
The situation that is going on right now is something very similar to what happened in Vietnam and US. The chances for this to become a global war is there. Right now, it's not very prominent. And the reason for that is that we can see a very big shift in the attitude and sentiments of Arab countries as well. They are trying to get rid of certain assets in the country that will destabilize them. From Iran point of view, I would say that they are fighting for their survival. From US point of view, they are looking into, they are fighting for control over the trade. How things will move in the future, we will see. However, if Ukraine or other countries jump into this war, then the situation will become very messy. Because on one hand, we have the whole Europe, as you mentioned earlier about NATO. So that could be very interesting. And then, of course, Russia is not going to leave its ally, which is Iran.
And apparently things have started working now. The situation is getting worse now. You have rightly mentioned that Ukraine is now taking a part, which is very alarming. And, things are getting worse. It's a clear threat to everyone in this region, Pakistan, for Iran, of course, and for China and Russia as well. We are heading towards World War III now.
It is indeed. What I could say about China is that China does not go into wars.
Directly?
What they do directly or indirectly. Directly for sure. Indirectly, they would provide probably logistic supports and others, but they don't promote war. If they want to control the region, they do it economically. So that's a very different approach. On the other hand, if you look at India, for example, so they are playing a role which is very shameful, I would say, to very least, because they are playing on every side. And that's why the world is getting fed up of their tactics, and then they are facing the backlash. But for Pakistan, it's very interesting because we are, in the past, we were sitting next to Afghanistan. Right now, we are sitting next to Iran. And that's not going to go very well if the situation escalates. The chances for that, if Ukraine goes into war is that they do have some expertise in shooting down the drones. However, they have to fight for their own country first, rather than jumping into Iran war with the US. But let's see how things unfold.
Okay. Now, let's talk about our economy. When we say we need to have some plan for consistent economic policies, we don't have any, and we don't see in near future that we can make a policy, a certain policy which can support our economy so we can survive in this situation or any worse.
Yeah, we already are in a survival mode.
Interesting question. So let's go back to 50s in Pakistan. Pakistan was the poster child of the economic development everywhere in the world. In 1950s, Dr. Mahbubul Haq made the 5-year plan. That was taken by Korea, South Korea. They implemented it, and you can see the economy of South Korea right now.
Many of us don't know that.
And it's really, really amazing. I mean, South Korea economy has developed so much. If you take into account 4 largest company of South Korea, Samsung, then you have LG, which is number 4 company, then we have Kia and Hyundai. So these 4 companies are huge in terms of conglomerates, and they are really, really huge. Probably their revenues are many times of Pakistan GDP. So what happened with Pakistan is that we went into wars. We have gone through the certain period of destabilization. I think the biggest challenge was in 70s, where a lot of things happened, from Bangladesh to nationalization to all the Afghanistan war and everything else. So there are so many things. Then came 90s. The things go down there as well. Because of a variety of reasons. And then we have seen the recent time in the last 10, 15 years.
Exactly. The war against terrorism also.
Exactly. So if I give an example of 2 countries, let's say Thailand and Vietnam. Thailand has faced a lot of political turmoil, and we see that the economy is not doing very well. The growth is stagnant right now. We look at Vietnam. Vietnam, there is only one political party, and then they have elections. You have to choose among the same. So the policy continues, and that's very important. That whoever comes in power, the policy should continue. If the policy does not continue, investors will be very scared to invest in country.
Doctor, we think the things are working for Vietnam right now. The exports is, are turning out to be the huge, I mean, in terms of numbers, $400 billion, and that is for real, they have achieved now. And you are saying that the consistent economic policy doesn't really work. I mean, it's hard to understand. We don't even cross, the $25 billion barrier now. And speaking of Vietnam, they have crossed $400 billion. How does it work? How, they manage to make such policy to achieve this huge amount of target, the huge number, I would say?
Sure. So Vietnam current exports are well over 500 billion. And they have achieved through certain measures they put in place. Number one, education. 96% literacy rate. People are learning new skills. They are going for those, that's something that is more in demand, number one. Number two, they have the policies. Policies that are favorable for investors.
And consistent policies.
And consistent, exactly. Number three, in energy. So Vietnam has hydro energy, Vietnam has clean energy, solar, windmills, everything they have. In Pakistan, the problem is that if you talk about energy, the prices are very high. If you talk about taxes, taxes are very high. In Vietnam, the corporate income tax is only 20% flat.
20%.
No other taxes, right? If you look at the GST, or what we would call VAT, is 8% or 10%, depending on the product, from 0, 5, 8, and 10%. Maximum is 10%. Pakistan, 18 to 21%.
And are there any petroleum levies, something like that?
No, they don't have.
Not even
in fact,
exist?
they have.
But
they
why
have
do
some
we have
subsidies.
this much levies in Pakistan?
Okay.
What is the exact translation of this levy? Does it,
we already don't
exist?
know.
That's the question. I haven't heard in any dictionary that we, have to collect
But unfortunately,
taxes from
we do have
petroleum levy.
levies.
Sure.
Can anyone explain us what levy is actually?
Sure. So let me explain this to you in a very quick way. So we have taxes.
Yes.
We all know that. So they are direct taxes, for example, employment income and other things. We have indirect taxes, for example, GST and other things we talk about. Then we have levies, which is something levied by the government on certain product and services. Generally, in Vietnam, we call it a special consumption tax,
Right.
which is levies,
Levies.
but that is implemented only on luxury goods, tobacco, and alcohol products.
All right.
Which in Pakistan, we don't have alcohol. We
Exactly.
impose levies on luxury goods. I'm
Yes.
very happy for
So we
that.
consume petrol as alcohol in Pakistan?
Is this a luxurious item?
It's
or
a
Yeah.
luxurious
Is
item.
it luxury?
Exactly. It becomes luxury.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say that
So, sir, tell me one thing. How would we survive in this economy where our policy is only that managing, not to solve these problems?
Yes, exactly. Only we have that managers,
That
not economic
managers.
planner or
No,
policy makers. So
nothing.
that's the problem, we are having.
yes. Human nature is very different. We have always a response fight or flight. So unfortunately, what is happening right now that there's a brain drain in Pakistan significantly. Yesterday, I was in Ministry of Foreign Affairs office. I haven't seen so many people at one time.
Really?
There were at least 400 people submitting the documents at that time in Karachi only. So you can imagine that how people are going. Everybody I talk to, people are there for education documents and this and that. And that shows that people are leaving. If everybody leaves from Pakistan, then who will remain behind? People who have some problems, for example, old parents and other issues. People who do not have any skills or means to move abroad, so that those will remain behind.
Yes.
Will they add to the economic development of Pakistan? That is a big question mark. We do not know. How we get out of this is getting more skills, number one, and then going forward in such a way that everyone is taking part in the economic activity, not only one bread earner in the family.
All right.
All right.
Dr. Shab, thank you so very much. It was pleasure talking to you, and
Really.
once again that you came here and just informed us so many things about Vietnam.